Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I will not be putting on makeup in this video. Instead, I wanted to make a video. I wasn't anticipating making this, but I actually really wanted to make this. I did bring a handful of makeup with me to Guilin when I went to China, and summer in Guilin is absolutely murderous. It was like in the high 90s and the humidity is like about 80%. Sometimes even 85%, so the heat index was absolutely insane. It's so hot, and most places in Guilin do not have central AC. They only have like room AC in like the bedrooms, or they just have fans going, or like, you know, the building ventilation is very good to try and get air circulation going through. You know, there's a lot of shade in the street, so it's not like you're in the direct sun, but it was very, very, very humid. It was, and definitely because I was wearing makeup every day, I got to really learn what I brought, what stood the test, and what didn't. So I wanted to make this video to talk about some of the makeup heroes that survived full days of wear with me going out and doing things, being out in that hot, humid weather, what survived, what stuck through, and just like to share some really great gems. So the first thing I realized was the less layers of makeup I had on, the better. I brought foundation, concealer, eye primer, stuff like that. It was not happening. Foundation was a no. Just even the thinnest layer of foundation was too much to handle. Even eye primer on my eyelids under eyeshadow was an unnecessary layer. The less layers of makeup I had on, the better, so I really regret not bringing a powder foundation with me, and in the end, all I used was a correcting eye concealer and a powder. That was it. The setting powder I brought, I completely forgot to bring pressed powder, but so I only brought one loose powder. But I used this powder not only to mattify and blur out my skin, I also ended up just using it as a powder foundation. Sure, my redness came through, sure, my acne came through, but you know what? Whatever. I just used this as my base, my foundation, my setting powder, everything. The NIKKIA Joy Setting Powder. This was a hero product. It totally lasted the whole day. It kept me from looking sweaty sooner than normal. If I wasn't wearing this, it'd be like half an hour and I'm already sweaty. I wear this, it takes like a good 4 to 6 hours for my oils to come through. This in combination with a good setting spray absolutely did the work. This NIKKIA Joy Setting Powder I cannot recommend enough in terms of makeup longevity, and because I already knew I like it because when I wear it here where I live in the USA, in the humidity it's not as bad. It's pretty bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as in Guilin. So this is an all-day thing for me. This will make my makeup last all day, and so I was so surprised at how well it worked in Guilin. This definitely was a hero product. And then as for my under eyes, there were two products I ended up using. I brought my JX Professional Concealer, but that thick pot concealer in that kind of weather was just a no, so I didn't use it at all. The one that I used the most was the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. This ended up just being all I needed because it corrects and brightens. So even though it's not full coverage, the correcting, brightening, and also the little pearls in it gave the illusion of me having such bright and awake under eyes. I absolutely loved using this, and this just made me love this product even more. So I just love this product. And then the other one I used for hydration, and sometimes I'd even use them both in conjunction with each other. I actually end up really liking this SHAISHAISHAI Banana Eye Cream. I know I have used it in a video before and I said it was like, it was good. It wasn't as good as it wasn't the miracle I was expecting, but it wasn't bad either, but I didn't know if I'd repurchase it. But in China when I was using this was really good because I actually forgot to bring an eye cream with me, so this doubled up as my skincare and my concealer, and I could use this under the Rare Beauty eye primer as well for additional coverage, and it doesn't cake up or crease or do anything weird. It actually worked really well, so I actually now really like this, and I'm glad I brought it, so I'm definitely going to use it more. So yeah, I was surprised. My opinion has changed on this, so I'm sorry, eye cream, but I like you now. I like you a lot more now. The next thing also was I used the Espoir Brow Balance and the Glossier Brow Flick, and those worked beautifully. Those were the only two products I brought because, you know, I was trying to save space. Those worked beautifully. The brow flick stayed on so well, so that was a really nice surprise. So that was good. And then in terms of eyeshadows, because I was basically not using primer, I just had to rely on the eyeshadows being able to last. What ended up working out the best for me was a couple of different brands of powder shadows that I brought and stick shadows. I did try to use the Tom Ford cream shadow. I brought it and I tried to use it and it didn't last. It faded and it creased, unfortunately. The stick shadows I brought two stick shadows. I'll have to find it later. The cap came off the back of one of my products, but these are the two stick shadows I brought. One of them is the Shiseido Kajal InkArtist in Tea House, and the other one is the NABLA Cupid's Arrow, and I brought the shade number 2. These two absolutely did it for me. These were great bases for me to use, and then I put everything else on top of it. These were amazing. Of course, these two colors are just simple brown colors. This one's a little bit cooler, this one's a little bit warmer. They're so easy to blend out, so easy to use, and these lasted so long. This Kajal InkArtist lasts even longer than the actual Shiseido eyeliners, which is just crazy. So I absolutely love these. The cream shadows actually ended up not working as well as I anticipated, but I think if you are in a humid climate and you need your makeup to last, stick shadows actually may be something you can consider. And then in terms of powder formulas, what worked really, really well was, first off, NATASHA DENONA. I brought this palette with me. I used it several times. This lasted. I mean, this lasted the whole day. No primer, and it just lasted. Now, of course, my eyelids are very dry normally, so when it's humid, it's not like my eyelids become literal grease balls. They just become a little bit sweaty and a little bit oily, so obviously that's going to impact wear time if your eyelids are oilier than mine. But as someone with dry eyelids with just an absolutely forbidding weather that was there, this I totally just love NATASHA DENONA all the more now. Could always count on this palette to work. And the other palette that I brought was, I also brought Venetian Rose. This worked okay. The fading was a little bit. The days that I wore it, I was indoors most of the day, so then it was fine. But this actually did wear pretty well on me as well. So I brought this, as you can see, very just simple, neutral, cool tone, pinky color scheme, very appropriate for China. Didn't really get the chance to truly test this out. But on the days I was indoors, I was only maybe outdoors for like an hour or two. This still worked pretty well. So I was pretty amazed. I did only use the top shimmer in this because it's like a sparkly topper, but this absolutely lasted, no fallout whatsoever. I was very impressed. So good job, KAJA. I feel like their shadows are honestly super slept on. I think they're really good, and they're especially compact. So if you do find yourself traveling a lot, especially if you're like your job makes you travel a lot, these are so compact and easy to bring. And then the other shadow palette that I brought was the Etude House Autumn Closet. Definitely the perfect palette to bring to China and use, and it actually ended up being a really good wear time wise. Now blending wise and pigmentation wise, it's Etude House. And especially this is pre-renewal. I know they renewed everything to be in the clear minimal 9-pan packaging now to look basically like every other brand. I honestly kind of miss this unique packaging, but I heard with the renewal the formula is better now. I couldn't vouch for that because I don't know. So the blending and the pigmentation of Etude shadows do tend to be on the weaker side, unless it's the shimmers. Those are really pretty and sparkly, but the wear time was really good, so I really appreciated that. In terms of eyeliners, I did bring several eyeliners. Eyeliners ended up also being pretty critical to creating my look, and then I would blend it out with eyeshadow because eyeliners also will stay on for a lot longer. So the star eyeliner I ended up using the most out of everything was Victoria Beckham Ash, because it was the perfect not black but dark shade for me to use. Totally fits in with Chinese makeup trends. And it's so easy to blend, so I can even use this as kind of a stick shadow if I wanted. So easy to use. I absolutely love bringing this, and I do really want to add more shades to my collection this year because this is just perfect. I actually can use this in my waterline and it works just fine, which is really cool too. And then for my under eye shadow, I ended up using these two liners from MUDE. As you can see, they're very light colored, and so they're meant to be used on the under lash line instead of shadow. These worked really well because since they're liners, they lasted all day and they didn't fade as easily as powder shadows, so I just stuck them like right under here, and that worked really well. So I was really happy with these. These lighter colored liners are definitely super trendy in Korea, and that's a really great thing. I don't really see these offered in the American market, so if you're interested in stuff like this, definitely check out Korean brands because they could be a really good alternative to eyeshadow for your lower lash line. They're also very precise and very easy to use that way as well. And then the one liner I brought from Shiseido, the micro liner ink in the shade Brown 02, this ended up letting me down. It faded, and I'm so surprised at these liners not being what I thought they would be. I thought these would be so good because I've never had a miss from Shiseido, but this ended up fading a little bit. Now if I wear it here in North Carolina, it's completely fine, but in that humidity, this unfortunately faded a little bit. I still think that it's not a bad liner because the weather in Guilin truly was something else. Very few products I imagine can hold up to that just in general, but I definitely was kind of bummed to see that this did fade. So not really applicable to where I live here because here is not going to, you know, torture my makeup as much as over there, but still I just thought, being Shiseido, having that reputation, being products I like from them, I thought that this would be like perfect, and it wasn't. I brought so many pairs of false lashes. I even brought singles to try. I was gonna do like the Chinese dolly eyelash thing. No. too hot, too heavy, so I just ended up having to rely on my waterproof mascara. I brought the Kiss Me Heroin Make Mascara, but I wonder if, I don't feel like it's as good as it used to be. Either the formula changed or I just used to have really low standards for mascaras, but I don't like it as much anymore. So after I use it up, I definitely want to go back to using like the Holika Holika one or the Peri Pero one. I want to try the new Etude House cool gray color as well. So falsies were just not going to happen. I mean, it was too hot, it was too humid. It was just too much layers, too much to deal with, so just a good mascara is what I ended up trying to rely on. I did buy the dual pack of the travel size Charlotte Tilbury setting sprays, and I travel with that so that I don't have to check anything, but I do have the full size Lunar New Year edition that I keep at my makeup desk, and this is what I brought. And I know some people say that this is just glorified water, and some other people actively hate this product. It works really well for me, so I absolutely love it. And so this was the makeup product that I brought. Even though I brought primer, I ended up not using it. Again, just layers I didn't need to use. The only primer I brought that I actually ended up using was the Benefit Professional, and I only used that right in my T-zone just to smooth out my pores and absorb some of the oil. But I brought a lot of other primers and I just used none of them. So instead, to prime my skin, I would use this setting spray both under and over my makeup, and I think that made all of the difference. And if you look at makeup trends in China and in Korea, you will find that people basically don't use primers there. They just rely on their skincare. They have really cosmetically elegant sunscreens, and if they do want to prep their skin before makeup, it is very trendy right now to use sprays. It ended up being fine because honestly, most people in China are not using primers anyways. And if they are using primers, for the most part in China, most people do still gravitate towards buying Western makeup products. So that's kind of what's popular there anyways. So I just ended up doing the same thing and it worked fine. I do really like the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. This is one of my favorites for making my makeup last a really long time. I did not bring the Dialba one because it wasn't going to be able to do that for me, and also it was bigger than 1 ounce, so like it's not like I wanted to, I'd have to check it and I don't like checking stuff. And then lastly for lips, I didn't bring any liquid lipsticks because I'm always paranoid about getting my liquids confiscated in security, so I just brought a bunch of lipsticks. And predictably enough, I pretty much ended up only using tinted lip balms because I was going out to eat a lot. My relatives were taking me to all their favorite places to eat, and I just, of course, I need to reapply my lipstick, and I don't like having like ugly rings around my lips and everything, so I ended up just wearing for the most part tinted balms, and then they were very easy to reapply and they faded very gracefully. So the ones that I brought the most of in terms of tinted balms was I brought mostly the YSL balms. I was going to bring my gloss stick, but this I imagine in the heat would have just completely melted, so I left it at home. These are much more resilient to the heat, so I brought several shades of these, and I pretty much used only that for the most part, which was totally fine. And then of course I did also bring Ginger Flash with me because it is such an easy neutral to throw on, and it does have a nice moisturizing, hydrating, shiny finish to it, so I brought this too. This is a very common product for me to bring. A, it's cute, and B, it is just so practical and versatile. So that got brought with me. I did also, just in case I lose things or things break, I also did bring, instead of my nicer lipstick shades, I did bring these two from Maybelline. I've always wanted to get more of these, but I think they're being discontinued now and I just never got around to it. But these are the Green Edition balms. These are super underrated. I see like nobody talking about them. I think they're so slept on, and I wish I could get all the shades, but it's just so hard for me to justify buying so many lipsticks because I'm totally the kind of person where if I like a lipstick formula, I immediately want every single shade in the range. I also have very limited storage space around my desk because I don't like putting makeup further than I can reach. That just naturally puts a limit on the number of lipsticks I can store, so I just only have these two, but I brought these two with me and they're easy to bring because if I lose them, I'm not going to be super upset. So I brought these, and then as my matte option, I actually ended up bringing this as my matte lipstick option. It's just such a neutral rose, and it's this would be a very trendy color in China right now. So I brought this. I did end up using this a lot too if I needed a matte option. So again, I do love using my luxury makeup. I love luxury makeup, but when I travel, I do try to minimize how many super expensive items I bring, because the last thing I want to do, and this lesson has been learned, is break something. Now, the last thing that I wanted to share is that I did bring a highlighter. I ended up not using any highlighter. I used none. I just wanted my skin to look matte all day. And you know what? Over the course of the day, from humidity and sweating, I just naturally would start to have natural highlighters. So completely did not use the highlighter that I brought. And then I just realized I completely forgot to mention the blush, because I did bring a heck of a lot of blush and I would like to share what worked. So first off, I brought several shades of Cheek Pops. My mom really likes Cheek Pops, so I brought several shades so that she could use them as well. These last all day long. Great wear time. I'm so happy with these, and I'm very happy that I have pretty much every single shade. I love my Cheek Pop collection. The next thing that I brought was the 3CE toilet paper blush, which of course, as you know, I mostly bought it for the cat, but the shade inside is actually very unique to my collection, and this was such a great blush for me to use. It kind of is almost like that red bean color, so to speak, red bean paste color. Very trendy color in China right now as well. I use this a lot, and this had also like a soft blurring effect. I absolutely loved using this. Wear time on this was great. I really wish I could get more 3CE blushes, but again, in terms of storage, my blush storage really is so maxed out. The next thing that I brought was the Haus Labs blush. I did bring it in, I brought it in this shade here, just so I had a peachy option. Again, really great wear time, no problems with this, very happy. And then lastly, the thing that I brought that I am the most just shooketh by, I'm just so incredibly amazed at this, was the Armani Beauty Neo Nude. I brought this. I use this both on my eyes and my cheeks very frequently. Absolutely had the best wear time of any product I brought. One of the particular days that I had this on my eyes and my cheeks, I went to the hair salon. The hair salon had no AC, and it took about 5 hours for my hair to get bleached and dyed. So for 5 hours I was sitting in the chair with no AC. He had to use the steam thing, and so that made me feel like I was going to literally die of heat exhaustion, because my head is so hot and it's already so hot outside. I'm sweating, my face is wet. I ended up not being able to take my makeup off until like 10-11 hours later, because we stayed out way later than I expected, and when I got back to the apartment, pretty much everything else had started to fade, but this was still completely vivid. So this was incredible. So if you are looking for an eye and cheek product that truly puts in the work, stays on, does not budge, the Neo Nude Color Balms just absolutely blew me away. I was so shocked by the sheer performance of these. I have used these on camera before and I absolutely loved how it applied and blended and looked, but now that I know the true extent of the wear time, I just love it all the more. And I am still so bummed that Cool Brown is still sold out as far as I can tell. But during the Armani 40% off sale, I did get 2 more shades. I'm so excited to use these. I absolutely love this formula, and I do wish it was easier to find, so I'm still holding out hope that someday I can get my hand on Cool Brown. And that concludes this video where I talked about humidity proof makeup and just stuff I learned while playing around with makeup in China. I will go ahead and end this video here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This look did get filmed, and if it's not up already, it'll be up very soon. So I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, take care. Goodbye!